Happy Sunday. Happy October 9th. No, October 8th. October 8th, I think. Yeah, it's the 8th. It is Sunday night, about 7 p.m. Didn't do much vlogging today. I took pictures and everything. So I just decided to come on and say hello, see how you all are doing. I am doing good. I feel like I've had a good eating week. Weigh-in is Tuesday, and there's been a couple times I wasn't real hungry, and then there's been other times when I don't want to say I couldn't get full, but some days I was hungry, some days I wasn't, some days I just felt like I just wanted to eat because that was what the old Terry used to do when you get bored or for whatever reason. I don't know. But I wanted to let you know that look for an additional vlog on Tuesday the 10th. It is our monthly No Tag Tuesdays. We do a no tag of some sort on the second Tuesday, as Miss Sandy told me, because she's right. She runs it the second Tuesday of each month, and then we have a monthly cooking collab, and that is, I think, the third Sunday of each month. So look for that. Mr. Jerry and I, sorry about that, we recorded it this afternoon, and for whatever reason my got question 2 done, and we're just chit-chatting away and noticed that it wasn't recording no more. And so we picked it up from there and finished it out, and as I was editing, it completely cut off a question, so I had to insert that. So it's just kind of a hodgepodge, but look for that anyways. It is done. But other than that, it's been a nice relaxing day. We had lunch about 3 o'clock on Sundays. We usually eat a bigger lunch, and then if you're hungry at night, you're on your own basically. Mr. Jerry comes from a family who always did Sunday meals, because I think it stemmed back from they went to church on Sundays, and so his mom would put something either on the stove or in the oven or something, so when they got home it was pretty much done. So, and he's just carried that right on through. My tradition, we never went to church. The only church that we all went to was when I got old enough. I'm the oldest of 4. My uncle would pick me up and take me to church, and then the other siblings started following suit when they got old enough, or my mom thought they were old enough to go. So we didn't have anything like Sunday dinners special, anything like that. So but he made a fantastic Swiss steak. His mom always made a Swiss steak, but it was tomato based, and because that's what they really liked. Not Jerry so much. He doesn't like tomato based stuff too much. So after we got married, he had made it one time tomato based, and then the church had they always did every year a church cookbook, and in one of those somebody did a cream of chicken. I think it's cream of chicken. You can do cream of mushroom too. Soup in it, and so he tried it, and we both discovered we like that so much better. So but he made that, and we had mashed potatoes with it. He always does some type of biscuit or muffin. That was something that they always did with his folks. So there was blueberry muffins. Of course, there's butter. There's the 2% milk. We had corn that I had froze earlier this summer. Other than that, it was a high point. So that was, I think, like 19 points. My breakfast was my smoothie, which is like 3 points. I did have another muffin, blueberry muffin. So that was an additional 7 points. So I'll be dipping into my weekly. So, but Not hungry yet. So other than that, I just wanted to say I hope your weekend was a great one. I hope that you stayed on track. If you are on a weight loss journey or whatever journey you are doing, does not have to be Weight Watchers. It can be any weight loss journey that suits you. You have to do you like I have to do me. And so if it's any type of weight loss, any type, we're all in the boat together. So, and some of us get to the finish line before some of the rest of us. But you know what? I've been doing this all my life, basically. After our son was born, I had put on 75 pounds, took that right off. Of course, I was in my 20s by that time. Then when our daughter was born 3 years ago, or 3 years ago, yeah, 3 years ago, heavens, Betsy, 3 years later, I had put on an additional, put that 75 pounds back on. When I met Mr. Jerry, I weighed 140 pounds, and of course, now I'm 5'6.5" because I keep shrinking. And we will be married 44 years in March. So I weighed 140 pounds. My mom thought I was overweight back then. Oh, to be 140 pounds. I look at those pictures and I just see skin and bones, basically. And then, like I said, when we had our son, 75 pounds, and then I dropped it back down. So my happy weight at that point, I remember being really comfortable at 170, 175. And the doctor even said that was a good weight for me, because Weight Watchers wanted me at that time 126 to 130 something, 136, something like that. And then when I got pregnant for our daughter, which we didn't think I'd ever get pregnant for, 3 years later, I put that 75 pounds on top of the 170, 175. And I lost back down to 2.25 to 220, something like that. And I thought I was just fat, fat. I know that's not the proper word to say, but I did. And that's when I had a doctor who, when I was drinking back then, like the Diet Coke, he says, well, you need more than just Diet Coke, honey. You need to lose some weight. And at that point, I was at 225. And it messed with my head. And the earlier version of me, of my mom saying at 140, I was still too heavy, messed with my head. And I think it still does somewhat. But, you know, those people aren't putting the food into me like, you know, they're not sitting there spoon feeding me. So once our daughter was born, all I did was continue to put the weight on. And my highest weight, I got up to 298. And I remember sitting in the doctor's office when she told me that what my weight was, and I needed to go on cholesterol medicine and blood pressure medicine, and throw in your thyroid quit working, and hormones at that time. I had a hysterectomy and all that good stuff. And I just remember, I still remember that, just like it was yesterday. And I remember coming home and just crying, because how can I let myself go? Basically, how did I let myself just go like that? You know, in my head, I thought, I got my man. He's going to love me no matter what. We can eat whatever we want, do whatever we want. When you're pregnant, you were always told you had cravings, which I did, and you can eat whatever you want. But in reality, that was stinking thinking. So I rejoined Weight Watchers several times. And then in 2016, 17, something like that, I rejoined Weight Watchers. And went to meetings, and that's where I found my current Weight Watcher leader, Miss Darla. And it took over a year to lose, well, it took almost 2 years to lose 63 pounds. And I remember being so frustrated because I'd only lose 0.2, 0.4, 0.8. You know, if I hit a pound, it was, you know, a big deal. And she would always tell me, but they add up. They add up. Well, they do add up, but it's very discouraging when you see someone else who gets on the scale and you hear, you know, because I had a friend that was going with me back then, and I talked to my leader about it, and he says, well, shoot, she can come in and she can gain, let's say, 5 pounds, which she did quite a bit, but then the next week she can drop 7. And my leader said, but you don't know how she's doing it. You don't know if she's starving herself for 2 days to get that off. So you just do you, and she'll do her. And I remember that when I hit my 63 pounds and I was down to like 235, and I thought, oh, 35 more pounds and you're out of that 200 land, and you can get closer to that 175. And my friend was, her name is Cheryl, and she was like, I don't know, 5 pounds, something like that, from hitting her goal. And she just stopped because she started gaining, and then she'd lose, and she'd gain and she'd lose. That's that she kept losing that same 5 to 10 pounds back and forth. And she finally decided that she didn't need the meetings anymore. After all, she'd lost a lot of it without the meetings, because she would never stay. She would come in and weigh. She would chit chat before the meeting, and then she would leave. And of course, then she put all her weight back on. But she did take some of it back off. But I can remember, it's not that I got cocky or anything. Jerry's dad was really bad at that time. And my head wasn't in it. My heart wasn't in it. We were the ones who got called all the time to come take him to the hospital or come out to the house and help his mom with him. And there was just no time to think about calories or points or any of that stuff. You just did what you had to do. And I remember the weight started creeping back up, and I talked to my leader about that. And she says, well, Teri, she goes, honestly, she says, you've got so much on your plate. She said that the stress alone will do this, but she says, your heart and your head is not in it right now. And she was right. And long story short, we lost his dad, and then discovered his mom had dementia. And so you go from losing his dad and finding out his mom has dementia to having to put her into an assisted living that she did not understand why she needed to be in there. I mean, after she lost her husband, she was living with her daughter and couldn't even grieve on her own, basically, but she couldn't be left by herself. We did allow her to. I was the only one at that time that wasn't working, and so I'd go check on her, but it was getting to be very obvious that she could not live by herself because she didn't know how to feed herself. She couldn't cook. She didn't even know how to do a microwave, and we were doing Meals on Wheels, and they would deliver 3 meals, and by noontime all 3 meals were gone. So I was dealing with that, and we get her all situated and all that stuff in, and all that time I'm paying Weight Watchers. It's coming out of our account. I'm not going to the meetings. I'm not doing online things, but they are taking the money out of me because in my mind I thought, if I cancel it, I'm going to be worse off. So what I did was I switched it to online, and I started doing online. And because I got up, I put all the way back on. I remember being up almost 15 pounds from that high spot again, and I just couldn't do that. I just couldn't do that. I had to have a heart-to-heart talk with Miss Teri here. And so I started doing online, and I did get down to the 33, 34, 35, about right where I am. And I've maintained that for like 4 years. Y'all, I'm tired of maintaining that 34 or 35 pounds, and I want to get down to a lot healthier, you know. And so when my friend Miss Sandy decided that she was going to go back to her walk-in meetings, and I am such an introvert, and to go by myself like that and start fresh at a meeting was just almost unbearable for my mental status. And but I thought on it that night, and I looked it up, and they had, I guess, a special. I messaged Miss Sandy, and she said it was a little bit better than hers, and she was, you know, happy I was going to go back. And I was talking it over with Mr. Jerry, because, you know, he doesn't care if I do it, you know, home or in workshops, but he told me, he says, I think that you should go back to your workshop. He says, because you did so much better when you did your workshop than you do online. And I didn't think I did, but he said I did. And so, and I've been paying for this out of my account. You know, I get money, he gets money, then we have the joint account for bills and everything. And he had told me, he said, you know, he says, tell you what, he says, if you go online, he says, I want you to change the payment to the general fund, and then I'll pay for it. He said, but by, I think it's like, because I get paid on Social Security the third Wednesday of every month, on that Tuesday, whatever my weight is, if it is less than it was a month prior, he will continue to pay for it. But if it even shows up 0.1, I pay for that month. And basically, you know, instead of transferring the money into my account, he'll just, you know, take the $20 out of that. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I went back. I've only been to one meeting. The first meeting, I couldn't stay. Last week, I couldn't stay. We had something going on. Plan on staying this Tuesday. But I say all this is because it is a journey. It really is a journey. Sometimes you don't realize until you go back and you look at your records to say, yeah, I've been just maintaining this for 4 years. Yeah, my doctor tells me that's great. You haven't put it all back on, and you're maintaining it. So, okay, I know how to maintain. But I want to continue to lose. I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror and like what I see. I want to be able to do. I chose myself this time. And sometimes we got to do that. Sometimes we got to dust ourselves off no matter what. And you just got to get up and keep doing this. So I just wanted to come on and say, hey, I hope that your upcoming week will be a great one. I hope that it is a better week than the last. I hope that no matter what, that you keep going. No matter what, you keep going. Even if it's just a little at a time. You know, we all make mistakes. We're all human. As long as we can learn from our mistakes and not give in. It's just too easy for me to sit there and, you know, Mr. Jerry made some cookies last night. Gave me one little one because he always makes them really little. And sometimes they're a temptation and sometimes they're not. And these aren't. But he loves his cookies. I made homemade bread. He loves homemade bread. I love homemade bread. But I count it. Am I going to deprive myself? No. Because if I start depriving myself, then I might as well throw the towel in now, because I ain't going to go no place, and I'm going to start regretting every time that Mr. Jerry grabs something, because I will think I can't have that. I don't have the points. I don't have whatever. I have to learn the word no. I have to learn to say it's okay. I have to learn to say, are you really hungry? Or are you just bored? Or what is really going on, why you feel like you need to eat something? Because the last thing I want to do is make myself miserable, because I've been there to where you're not hungry and then you can eat something and then you eat it and you get back up and you eat something else. And when I say something, it is not an apple or a veggie or anything like that. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. So I'm just tired of it. So I just wanted to come on and say hello and say thank you. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for being part of my journey for me. It is so helpful to have friends during this journey, that whether you're doing the journey or not, that you got somebody back there rooting for you that is going through it with you, or has been there, done it, and they understand and they can throw in words of encouragement too. So I'm going to let you go. This is going to be longer than I thought, because I just get to talking. But I thought sometimes y'all need to see Miss Teri sometimes. So, and I need to talk to you. So thanks for listening, my friends. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow on my next daily vlog. Have a blessed evening, friends.